Hey guys, it's me again, Orchler, with this where we last left off. Let's see, checking. Where we last left off on What If Belle was a Chaos Warrior. This is part 1, technically, I guess, since part 0 was the other one. Belle's got the attention of the four. Each of them have their own interest in him, really. They see the potential he has. They've each sort of saw an aspect that they really liked. Except for Nurgle, who really just like, the boy wanted to live, so you know what, I'll help him live. So, they resurrected Aurora and are doing that whole thing with her being a weird hybrid between their own creation and a soul that was already there. Essentially, the very first creature of her kind. She's something not inherently chaotic, but she is part of it. It's weird. She ain't a demon for any of you thinking that. She's just really, I guess you could say, just resurrected via it. But I digress. As we continue on with the story. Sorry, yawning. As we continue on with the story, Aurora saved Belle. Belle and her are going to meet up with the grandfather. And this is where I'm going to say the story kicks off again. As Grandpa, or as he is known, as if people who know it, he is actually Zeus. I'm pretty sure most of you guys should probably know that. I think I've mentioned it before, maybe in the last video. But Zeus, who was freaking out for the safety of Belle, sees him walking with this girl in weird robes carrying a morning star. If I remember, that is the weapon I gave her. As he's sort of like happy to see her, he can't but say he gets this off feeling about the girl. Like something isn't quite right. That, what's the word I'm looking for? That there's something off about her spirit and such. Though, of course, he can't utilize his godly powers to their full ability. He has enough senses, I guess you could say, that he can feel something is wrong, but he can't put his finger on it. But when the two children get up to him, they start explaining what had happened. Belle was attacked by a weird monster. The girl saved Belle. It was a whole thing. This sort of doesn't dissuade his sort of suspicions, but it is enough for him to not look into it as of now. What it does do is, like, she earns that tiniest bit of trust from him, that she at least has an interest in keeping Belle safe. For what reasons, he doesn't know. Maybe she's a good person, maybe he's not. But essentially, as he comes to learn that her parents are essentially dead, he allows her into Belle and his home. So he ends up making sure that she has a place to sleep, to rest and all. And he makes sure that she can, like, have some proper food and whatnot. And he tries to get more information about, like, where, like, if she doesn't remember what happened, she has a bit of amnesia. He can't fully understand it. And again, the situation to him is highly suspicious, but there ain't really much he can do from this point on. So he decides that as long as this girl's here, he'll try to help her. And so during this time, which I'm saying there's going to be a time skip, Belle is very happy that he essentially has what you could call an older sister. As the years drag on, get this. I'm sorry I'm yawning. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Always happens when I go to record. Belle is sort of like exploring with her after they get done helping with the farm for a day. And essentially it just comes down to where he's constantly talking about like his favorite hero, like his favorite stories, how he kind of like how all his friends in the village, and how for some reason all the girls chase him for some reason. Because I think again that is brought up in the books, is that for some reason a lot of the girls in the village chased him because he looked like a rabbit. Aurora really doesn't laugh or talk all that much. She's pretty quiet. She is quite confused because those voices she heard, or voices, haven't tried to speak to her in a long time, but they are very she is very interested in Belle, though she doesn't know why. She just knows that at least she has to protect him. But she does quite enjoy his stories. Even the ones about where he's for some reason being chased by all those girls. Though she can admit that he does kind of look like a rabbit. And I'm going to say you're going to like time skip a few years. Let's see, Belle's... How old is Belle again? He's like 5, 6 before time skip. Aurora's like just turning 12, so they're about like, 6 years apart. I'm going to skip to when Belle is 12. He's just getting he's getting older, and now you're gonna go to Aurora, who is 18 at this point. She has pretty much grown up now. It's even something that's remarked is that she is a very good beauty within the whole village. And throughout this time, she's had a few instances where one of those voices from before have talked to her, but never all at once. Which she finds odd, but she can't really do anything about it. So she really just rolls with it. So then you get to Belle and his little part, and she's been hearing more and more from the voices saying that she needs to sort of try to convert Belle or whatever to something. She doesn't quite understand it, but she knows they want him to do something. While in the meantime, this entire time, Belle's grandfather, or Zeus, refer to him as Zeus, he's been growing a bit more suspicious of Aurora throughout these years. There's always been something he couldn't put his finger on, and now as she gets older, that feeling gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And recently, he's taken notice that there's actually been a few more monsters in the area than what there was before. This is very unusual for this to happen. Sure, there's surface level monsters and other like wild animals, but these ones that have been coming here are always just wrong. Like they've been sort of corrupted or something. Like they've been having an issue where these weird half men, half goat creatures, like they don't really show up in like large groups, but they typically have like one or two with them, and it's quite worrisome. And these things aren't even monsters, they're just like deformed creatures, as he would put it. And they have a weird magical scent, we'll call it, on them. Something foul in his words. And so he's put out sent a request into Aurora, or anywhere else really, to have a group of adventurers come help, and if anyone can actually figure out why this is happening. Aurora gets information from the gods, or the four as she calls them, that the grandfather has to be removed for Belle to reach his full potential. She doesn't quite know how to do that, and she doesn't know how she feels about it. He's been good to her, and that she doesn't need doesn't see the need to get rid of them. Why not try to get him to also worship them? But it's in these cases that they sort of utilize their power to force her to do it. Not in the sense they take control of her body, but in a sense that they inflict a form of pain on her. As they say that she is merely a tool and that she will do as they command. And that command is to get Bel to his full potential, and to get that, they must remove his grandfather. In this meantime, though, Bel has grown up little by little. His white hair is still the same, his bright red eyes. He's essentially still just the albino. He still loves hanging out with Aurora and his grandfather, but he's noticed that the two act strange around each other, like as if his grandfather is repulsed by her, and she's quite wary of his grandfather. Anytime he tries to ask either of them about this, they just sort of shrug it off, saying that he's imagining it or that isn't what's happening. It's always something, and Bel does not like it. He feels as though something has gone awry and he can't quite put his finger on it. He hopes it isn't so bad. He hopes it isn't like something really bad, but he isn't quite sure. But aside from that, he is actually tending to the farm by himself today, and his grandfather and Aurora are out foraging for some things. In fact, they're actually going to the next town, so that way they may actually buy some supplies in their local market that they were able to set up. So, that's what's happening. As again, sorry for jumping all over, we come back to Aurora. She is walking pretty much side by side with grandfather, as she has begun calling him that too, grandfather, since that's the only word she could really think to call him. And he refers to her as granddaughter, even though it's always very stiff when they refer to one another. It's unlike when either of them really talk to Bel, there's no bond there. So what happens is this. Is as they're walking away, the dark gods have been whispering to her, saying that she must lure him here, and that they will take care of the rest. As she's speaking with him, they are suddenly beset upon by several creatures. More of those goatmen creatures that have been sent as agents, as you could say. As they run away, she does her best to attack them and making it actually look convincing, because these creatures have no idea that this is what she's actually doing. Is that they don't know they're essentially working for the same person. As though she feels this is wrong in her guts, she also knows she can't defy her masters. So, if this is what she must do for Bel's own good, she will do it. And as it's happening, as Zeus is getting away, he's starting to think of how this seems too well timed for this to be an accident. And after this, he will put even more effort into digging into Aurora and trying to find out what he can. But as this is happening, there's a moment where everything shifts, as if he's been transported somewhere else. As he looks around, the land is unstable, it looks like. Like, everything just looks like it's gone just mad. As he's looking around, all he sees are essentially four, outlines of creatures, essentially where he's in the middle. And as he's getting ready to stand off, he actually notices he can activate his godly power. And so he summons his lightning, or thunder, as he's Zeus, god of light, the god of thunder and lightning, he summons his power. As he sort of transforms from that, old man, like, if I remember, he's kind of pudgy. Like, he goes, Olympian mode, as I would put it. And he stands not taller than, like, the biggest one, but he stands about middle between all of them. And as he's raring to go, he feels something off as he calls his magic to him. He feels like it's somewhat being manipulated a little. Not a whole lot, but a little. As then, that's when the two biggest ones go to combat him, so to speak. As it's happening, the first one, the largest, swings a massive sword. A sword that, as far as Zeus can tell, if it hits him, it will not just kill him, it will utterly destroy his being. And to do that to a god is something incredible. Something that cannot be even perceivable for as far as Zeus knows. Because anytime a god dies, they just return to heaven. With, of course, no emotional ties to whoever they were. He still knows that he can't just let himself be killed, quote unquote. As he's going about, he starts throwing his lightning around. As it's like giant like they smash into the ground and splinter it. As in the second base goes to hit him. As he throws his thunder or lightning, his magic, I want to say, into this creature, it's like it absorbs it and doesn't feel anything. As he's fighting for hours. For him, what feels like hours, outside it's been maybe a minute. As he's going back and forth, he sees that he's actually starting to make some leeway in tearing down these three. Even though that blue one has tried to use its magic on him, he's hit it a couple of good times. And as he's about to continue on with the unending assault, he feels a sharp pain in his leg and in his left side. As he sees behind him a weird creature with crab-like claws that have just ripped its blades out from his back or from his side and his leg, and he swings his backhand and knocks the creature far away. As with his back turned, a massive sword is planted straight through him. As he's essentially been impaled now, twice, and then the second biggest, comes close to him and hits him with a giant cleaver that he immediately feels the effects taking a hold. As if every plague known to man is coursing through his body right now. And of course, the one that was far off using magic floats right above him and strikes him down with all sorts of magic. Curses straight out, curses so foul, nobody even remembers their name, for they were forgotten. Such magic such as like firebolt, flame blast, all these things are being utilized in this one moment, and it brings Zeus down. As he's thinking how he failed, and that he could have done better, that he needs to fight harder. He's about to rally when out of nowhere, that little creature that came before jumps on him and stabs him through the chest. Again. As this time it pierces his heart. As he feels himself about to slip away from the world, he hears the four of them say, "Don't worry, Bel will be fine under our guidance." And he fades to black. As in that white gold bright light that typically happens, shimmering, and he's sent away. As the gods, or as the dark gods believe, they've sent him back. They don't know what's going to happen after this, though they do know this, they're all quite tired. And Zeus hopes that whatever spells he were able to use was able to damage his soul enough. Yeah, I guess soul you could say. Enough to where it will take a long time before he's able to even come down here again. As that's... I can't... It's kind of late. A little tired. So I think that's where I'm going to be ending this one off at. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Guys, continue to enjoy this, and the next part will probably be a lot longer, maybe 30 to 40 minutes. Anyways, I hope you guys have a nice day, nice night, nice life.